Yo, what's going on, gamers? Trying 6 days a week, and if you couldn't tell from the background footage, this is very much the end of the wipe. The end of wipe arena event has begun. You can bring in whatever uniques you want into arena, and that includes artifacts. So I'll just have that rolling in the background as we talk about next wipe's content, which very much includes the PvE dungeon modes. Now, this information comes from the Balladeer chat, which we have been given permission to share, as well as So Bad Strange's Q&A with Iron Mace staff, which happened quite casually late last week. So do understand that this is very much the most accurate information that we have right now, but of course could change by wipe. Alright, now let's get started with talking about the PvE mode, or what's going to be known as the adventure mode. Right now we for sure know it's going to be a completely separate queue, which yes, that of course makes sense. And it's going to drop gear only up to the epic grade. Now these epic grade pieces are going to be quite rare. So I'd imagine they're on par with being unique drops in HR, that kind of rare. We also have new tradable and non-tradable tags on the items you get from the PvE dungeons. Right now, there's not really information given on what will be tradable and non-tradable, but I imagine all gear pieces will be non-tradable, and some select crafting pieces will be tradable. Again, just a guess right now. But yes, the existence of these tags does mean that you can bring gear that you find in the PvE dungeons into the PvE mode of the game, so the main game mode. It just won't be tradable, or that's what it seems like for now. And finally, for the last confirmation, they are planning on disabling player and summon collisions, as well as other player interactions such as pickpocketing, to limit any kind of griefing that could happen in the PvE dungeons. Again, this is information that is subject to change, and I believe there's going to be a devcast happening sometime this week that will go over this information in more detail. I'll have more information in the comments and keep it updated. Alright, now besides the PvE dungeons, or the adventure mode, what else should we expect on Wipe Day, April 10th? Well, right now, we have 3 confirmations. The first is that 2 weeks into Wipe will be market free. At least 2 weeks, that's what we have hard confirmed right now. I believe last time it was mentioned, they were talking about extending this up to a month. So somewhere between 2 and 4 weeks, there will be no player market or trading. Next, the devs will be introducing HR leaderboards that refresh on a weekly basis, and this is going to be built off of the old system in HR. If you didn't play back then during the playtest, the old HR leaderboards were focused around player kills, boss kills, treasures extracted, and safe extractions. They may add a couple more categories to this HR leaderboard system, but for now do know there's going to be some sort of weekly refreshing leaderboards to chase after. There may even be a reward side of them, we'll just see. And the third confirmation that we have for Wipe Day is that many monsters across all the modes in the game will be receiving an update. This is a little bit more cryptic than the other information given, but I believe it's something to do with spicing up the PvE mode as well as the PvE mode. So expect some changes to the common monsters in the dungeon, and hopefully it'll be a little bit more challenging. Alright, now the part that I'm dreading the most, and again, I'm just the messenger here. Don't shoot the messenger. Let's go over content that will not be ready at Wipe. First, the water map, the new water map that I've been teasing the pictures of for many months now, will not be released on Wipe. Additionally, guild halls, they will not be released on Wipe. This one I'm quite sad about, as I'm pretty hyped for a social space. As limited as it was going to be, I was excited for something like that. 3, the Aquabus musket, so the handgun or hand cannon we saw earlier, will also not be released on Wipe, but we did get some information on it. It is going to be accessible for all classes. I imagine it could even be a utility item. And for the monk class, but I think we all expected this one, is not going to be released on Wipe as well. So 4 confirmations of things that will not make it on Wipe Day. I'm quite sad about the first 2. The last 2 I kind of expected, and you know, the hand cannon, I'm actually not excited for that at all. I think that's going to change the game up quite steeply in regards to class damage. So yeah, I know this is definitely not the news that you wanted, because it's certainly not the news that I wanted. And there's a lot of burnout happening right now, at least in the Dark and Darker community, as we could tell from the viewership and player numbers. But there are some interesting games that are getting ready to release. They're very much in early access or alpha that I've been exploring, and I'll have some videos on that within the month. Listen, Dark and Darker will always by far be my favorite game, but during these more content dry times, such as the end of Wipe and sometimes Wipes when not much is released, I like to explore some other dark fantasy indie games. There's some crazy talented people out there in the world building some awesome experiences that don't really get discovered. About a month ago, I made a post on YouTube saying that this year I would play every single Dark Fantasy Extraction or Dungeon Crawler game that's actively being developed, and I am gonna follow through on that. Now I have a couple of games shown in the background here that I do intend to play or am currently playing, and I'll have a video on it soon. But if there's any game in particular that you want to see me cover, or you think I'd be interested in covering, put it down below in the comments. I do read all the comments. I don't respond to all of them. I'm actually many comments behind, but I have been going through all the comments and reading them, and I appreciate you taking your time to type out your thoughts, no matter what they are. Now you can choose to believe this or not, but even though this channel has grown by over 22,000 people in the last 2 years, I still read everything that you post. Well, as long as Google doesn't auto-filter it, which I have no control over. I swear, I don't delete your comments, they always stay there unless YouTube does something with them. Alright, gamers, as one last big final reminder, the wipe for Dark and Darker is going to happen on April 10th. I don't have a time for it quite yet. That's probably going to be something that's covered in the devcast, the Tavern Talk. But if there are any big drastic changes, just look out for a post or video. Alright, thanks as always for watching. I hope you're enjoying the end of wipe event, and I'll see you in the next video.